Hello, and today we're going to be doing a Highguard review. So, what is Highguard? Highguard is a game that has basically just released, um, and it's sort of like a raid shooter game. Lots of people have been calling it like Concord 2, and I don't think that's really a fair assessment of it, because it's really its own game, to be honest. I've admittedly only played a little bit. Um, I think it's a game that will probably grow on me a little bit um, over time, but at the moment I'm not entirely sold on the game. I think it's not really much fault of the game itself. Um, well, yeah, there are a few blatant issues with it, but we'll get into that later. But I think at the moment, most of the criticisms you see of this game, like Concord 2, things like that, I think it's not as bad as most people expect it to be, and I think most people should just give it a try, stuff like that. But right, so what are some of the positives of the game? I think the game actually looks really good. When I first saw people like Flats and Macro stuff like that, when I saw their reviews of the game, I thought really bad. But actually having played the game, actually having like experienced it, I think it actually looks pretty good. Like, look at these leaves, bro. They look really good. So I think that's definitely positive of the game. Admittedly, there aren't actually much positives. I think for what it is, like its own thing, stuff like that. I think the idea of the game is very interesting. I think if there were other things like this, it could be in for some competition. But I actually think like the game itself is really good. Um, I just don't think the execution was very well, like paid off very well or something like that. But why is that? So my first con is the looting phase. Like it's a whole 2 minutes. Like that is incredibly long. You've got countless like time just mining this weird blue thing. I think it's called like Vesper or something. And it's the most tedious process ever. I think a way that they could possibly like make it a little bit better is by making it so I don't know if it actually is like this already, but having Vesper given to you on kill, I think that could be like pretty good as well because obviously you can still have mining for Vesper. That's another thing. I absolutely hate the mining in this game. I think it's like such a bad mechanism. I think it should just be like you get the mining thing automatically, like the top mining thing automatically, because then it speeds up the game, you get more fighting, and I think it doesn't feel as bad that way, because it's honestly horrible doing that. It's so bad. But I think that's one of the biggest criticisms I've seen of the game, and I think it's very fair. It's really not fun. It's really bad. I think it's honestly like a terrible system, and they really should do a much better job with it. But I think that's my main criticism, to be honest. I think the game as a whole is actually pretty solid. Is it really for me? I don't know. Like I said earlier, I sort of need to play a little bit more. I haven't really been playing all that much. Uh, it's definitely not that interesting of a game, in my opinion. But I don't think it deserves the criticism that it has been given. And I think a lot of the time people just sort of go along with what they've heard without having to actually given the game a proper like chance and stuff like that. And from like the Xbox reviews and stuff like that, I've seen a lot of people say that this game's awful, this game's terrible, stuff like that. But I think, honestly, from a game standpoint, it didn't really hit the mark. The execution's not really here. But the guns, they feel pretty good, I must admit. The movement's pretty solid. The heroes, like these heroes, and I'm sorry, bro, they are not that memorable. Who did I play? I played this guy a little bit. Um, Basically what I do is a lot of the time, like if somebody's getting revived, like I'm reviving someone, or I've just been revived, I'll throw these like thunderbolt things down that he has. Sort of like prevent enemies from coming in, stopping the revive, stuff like that. I'll throw them on the like objective things that you've got to do as well in order to like win the game and stuff. That's another thing I didn't really like that either. Um, I just think they're a bit mid, to be honest. I think they really could have done a better job with how the objectives and stuff in this game work. But I think like the heroes, they're a bit mid, yeah, but they do seem pretty unique. Um, like I mean they don't seem like they're carbon copies of other heroes, stuff like that, from other games. Um, you could like I think they feel really unique, to be honest. Like I know I'd mostly just play Overwatch from other rivals, stuff like that. And these hit and a bit of Apex stuff like that. And which makes sense. This is this is basically Respawn 2.0. But I think these heroes are very unique. They not all of them really landed, in my opinion. Like um, they have very simple kits. Like this guy, he's just mid. Um, she's fine, I think, but like the whole like um scanning thing, I think that's like really mid and stuff. It's really easy to like counter unless you're like on your steed, which I think is a really nice addition to the game. Like, you get to go on a horse or a bear or a panther or this like red griffin sort of thing. I think this is like a really cool addition to the game, and it's very unique, definitely, but it's a bit off. And seeing a horse in like a shooter game, I don't know. It's a bit weird, to be honest. It's You can probably tell I've not really prepared a script. I've been going for about 8 minutes now. Just for like rambling, but it's an interesting game. I must admit. I think if you look at the moment, I've only got like 12% ult charge, and I've killed a bunch of these guys. You don't get ult charge for doing damage or killing, which I think is really weird. Like these ults, in my opinion, they're not that strong. A lot of them, they're really not that strong. Ooh, that's the wrong thing. If you refill the ammo, you get like the ults here. So you hold that down. This one, I actually don't really know what to make of it. Makes it like hard to see, stuff like that, you know? It's just mid, in my opinion. Like, you can't really see, like, I can't see that guy at all, you know? And it's a bit hard to see here, but I think, it's got potential, but without getting ult charge of kills and stuff like that, you don't really get your robot that much. And I think for a game that, like, has a bunch of issues already, I think the heroes really have to land, and I just don't think they do. These heroes, they don't interest me. They don't stand out compared to other heroes. Like I said, they have unique kits. I'll give them that. But I really don't care a lot about them. Like these aren't interesting characters, and I think games like Overwatch, for example, I think they've got like really good characters. And part of that is the lore behind the characters. Like, if you take the 2016 cinematics, stuff like that, those are iconic. Like, they truly are. And they really help to flesh out the characters and give the characters like some background and stuff like that. And I think that's really important. And this game just fails like in all aspects for that. And if you take Marvel Rivals for example, like you, we don't need to know who Spider-Man is. You know, like everyone knows who Spider-Man is. He's been around forever, for, forever. Um, everyone knows him. He's literally the most popular superhero. So like he's a no-brainer. Put him in the game. But for completely unique heroes, you need people to like them. You need people to feel connected to them, and you just don't get it with this game like at all. And I really could not care less about any of these guys. Who's my favorite? I mean, she's pretty cool, I guess. He is the one that I played the most about. Like I said, this like weird lightning bolt thing, using it more defensively rather than I've seen a lot of people like try to use it aggressively and like throwing it like over there towards him, for example. And yeah, I can see why, but I just think it works more defensively. You know, like somebody's trying to push in like, from like over there. You've got this down. You've got behind a little bit of cover, for example. You're shooting them. They can't really like go over here without getting, attacked by that. So I think it just works more like that. And because you don't really have these, I think that's hero guides. To be honest, I didn't actually check. I skipped past it. I just wanted to play the game. Wanted to like see what the game's about, stuff like that. And it, to be honest, I really think if there actually is hero guides, I really think I should have watched them because I've got no idea about these characters. Like they've got really simple kits. Literally, they only have one ability, which is another thing. Like why? Even like 2016 Overwatch, like I actually played back then, um, and everyone had like two abilities and then the ult. These guys have one. Like you can't get lazier than that. Like come on, one ability like that is just sad. To be honest, like the ice guy, he's technically got the most abilities. Like this guy sort of transforms into this. So you got like this that, and then you can push it. Wow, look how fast that moves. Like wow, and then you can like turn into this ice golem guy, and it's like pretty cool to be honest. And it does like 1,000 damage. Like see, and you can hit multiple heroes, and that's pretty cool. But this is just ability too. This is like this should just be another ability. Like this should be his ult, but you should have another thing just other than a wall. Like this is the bog standard, mate. Like, and I think it works for a game like Apex having one ability, or stuff like that, because that's different compared to a game like Overwatch or Marvel Rivals, where Apex is more about the battle royale aspect of the game rather than and obviously the heroes are very important. The heroes you pick, for example, I think I've not really played them quite well, but I think Sir got like a rework, I think, and he plays like completely differently, and now everyone plays him and stuff like that because he's like really good or something. And obviously the heroes are a massive part of the game, but or justice for Mirage. I'm just gonna say like Mirage needs something, bro, please. Um, and it works for a game like Apex because you play for the battle royale, and the heroes they differentiate it from Fortnite, for example, and PUBG. Um, but they only need one ability because you're there for the weapons. You're there to play a battle royale. You're not there for the heroes, or at least I'm not. To be honest, I don't know about you. To be honest, I don't think many people are gonna hear this. Yeah, but whatever. And but for like games sort of like this, and I get that it's not like Overwatch or Marvel Rivals. Those are technically two different things, I guess. That the hero shooters, this is technically a raid shooter. This is just a hero shooter, in my opinion. Like no matter what they try to claim. Um. So and I think in this game especially, it should have more abilities because games if you're not playing like the 5v5, games can last for ages. Like I'm surprised 3v3 is the regular version of this game because god, games can like last for age even in 5v5. And it's insane in my opinion that 3v3 is the main thing for this game. And so like I just think that I'm a bit conscious of time, to be honest. Like, and again, I didn't prepare a script, so I'm going off memory here. So I might just try wrap this up anyway. But I think the main takeaway is that the game isn't as bad as I think many people think, but there are plenty of very valid criticisms, and I think the game, without drastic reform, especially for that 2 minute interval before like the weird blade appears and you can actually start winning it, it needs some rewrite. It needs like someone to come along and just say, and I actually think that maybe like different game modes could be like really good for this game, like maybe a sort of King of the Hill idea. I think that could work really well for this game, and I want this game to succeed. I think it's actually like a really interesting concept, but the execution, it's just not there. It's really not there, and I think um I'm gonna wrap this up, but it's I think it's got potential, but them, I think without them like putting the proper care and stuff like that, I really don't think this game is gonna go past like the first year. Like I'd be surprised to be honest if it makes past like 6 months. Um, but yeah, that's it. I know that this video is probably not gonna reach a lot of people. I'd be surprised if it gets more than like 7 views. If everything that I make other than like shorts and sometimes shorts don't get more than like 7 views, but I really don't care. I'm just putting it out there because I think this game, I think I want it to succeed. I think it's gonna be like if they can change how the looting system works, they can change like the material thing. I think it's got potential, but I don't think the execution right now is here. But one of my favorite games is Battlefront 2, and that had an awful release, and it's a really good game, and I'm very upset that they're not making Battlefront 3. But you know, so it is possible. It is very possible that a game that has a bad release can become a very good game. And I think Overwatch had a very good release, but at the moment it's better than it was before, but it's still like not there in my opinion. And I think everyone's just got to do a little bit better, and if this game's gonna succeed, then it really does need to do a little bit better. But that's just my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know. If if this actually does get to anyone, um, let somebody else know. And like and subscribe and comment and stuff like that because I am actually quite interested in what people think about this game because I don't think it's as bad as everybody else says. Um, but whatever. See ya.